Welcome to the Contented Couples channel. I'm Annie Power. I'm a couple counsellor in London, UK. And today I'm speaking to my colleague, Cynthia Ransley, about what makes a couple work in the long run. Hi, Cynthia.
Hi there. Hi there.
Cynthia has written a book about forgiveness, which I think is rather relevant to our theme today.
I have. Well, yes, I want to say something about forgiveness because I have reservations about the word forgiveness. And, forgiveness is traditionally been seen as a willingness to give up on resentment, negative judgment, indifferent behavior towards the other person, and while fostering compassion for the other, even love towards another person who's wronged you. Now, I have reservation about that because it can leave someone powerless, and it seems to me that what I talk about as forgiveness, it is actually letting go of the angry, bitter feelings that are ruining my life. And then possibly not forgiving what's been done, not forgiving the behavior, because if we condone bad behavior, we may lay ourselves open to it happening again. However, so letting go of the bitterness which ruins my life, and hopefully feeling and learning to feel, yes, this person who behaved this way is okay. I can understand, I can feel warmth towards them. We can work together to make this work. But I'm not going to accept. There may be behavior which I won't accept in the long run. And it seems to me that's what makes for a good relationship. The kind of warmth and acceptance of the other, but not necessarily accepting behaviors from the other.
I find that description of forgiveness really useful. And the bit that's most interesting me is about the value of letting go of angry, bitter feelings. And where this connects to certainly my work as a couple counsellor is that when one partner feels hurt by the other, what often gets expressed is not the hurt, but the anger. So the partner A is hurt by partner B, and partner A expresses anger in whichever way they do, which could be loud and stormy, or could be quiet and cold, or passive aggressive, whatever way it is. But the hurt that they're feeling is very often not the bit that gets conveyed. And when we work in therapy, we try to enable partner A to show the real hurt. And then partner B can usually respond in a very loving way, usually. Whereas when partner B gets criticized, they tend to defend themselves, and then the thing escalates. So that's why I love the idea that the usefulness of letting go, moving beyond, I would say, even more than letting go, moving down through the anger into the hurt. It's a more relevant, and it's a better informed kind of communication.
Yeah, makes sense.
The other thing that fitted from what you said with the book is something that came through to me was courage and generosity. So the word forgiveness didn't come up a lot in the interviews, but what was very apparent to me is that these couples were not just looking for safety and trust. They were prepared to be brave and show themselves in the relationship. I think sometimes kind of couple manuals overdo the safety trust bit, because what makes a relationship come alive is when we're brave enough to step forward and be real.
Oh, I like that. Because and the phrase I used in the book was letting go rather than forgiveness, because the religious connotations for many people, but letting go. But and I'm linking it to letting go of being brave enough to let go of inhibitions towards the other person, let go of what's happened. But there's something about letting go of feeling safe enough to let go of our own inhibitions, isn't there? And feeling, okay, I can show myself more here. I'm safe enough to show myself more.
Where you're saying letting go, we could think of people moving beyond the roles of pursuer withdrawer. So the book explains pursuer withdrawer a lot. In a couple, very often one takes up broadly one position and the other the other.
Yeah.
And the pursuer has that sense of urgency. We've got to talk about it now. I need to know you're right there. And the withdrawer manages themselves. They soothe themselves by being quiet, getting alone for a while, actually distracting from the intense feelings, where the pursuer feels the only way to solve this is to be very intense and do it now. The couples who I think successful couples are able to soften those roles. So that first of all, that means becoming aware of it, becoming aware of this cycle that the pursuer withdrawer get into, where the more the pursuer is, you've got to explain this now, you've got to talk to me now, the more the withdrawer is, no, I'm just going to put some music on, I'm going into my shed. And the more the withdrawer is distracting and withdrawing, the more the pursuer is intense, demanding, can become critical, and the pursuer can become dismissive. So that's when it polarizes. But the couples in the book had learned to manage that, some of them with the help of therapy, some without the help of therapy. So they could observe it in themselves, and say, look, we're doing that, let's stop.
Yeah, because I was thinking as you were speaking, it's the couple who are, it's the individuals in the couples who are able to move from being reactive to being reflective, and actually seeing what's going on and feeling safe enough to take a deep breath and weigh it up, even if it's in a second, and respond differently.
Those two words, moving from being reactive to being reflective, that is so much the center of it. And then, as you said, feeling safe enough. So to become reflective, to become curious, to pause and notice our own process, we do need to experience a degree of safety. And some of that is knowing, okay, we're having a row, but I know we're good in the long term. I know we'll get through this.
Yeah. I know we'll get through this, and I know we'll get through this. So is that time then? Is that we've done this 2 or 3 times before, or 10 times, 20 times, and we can move beyond this?
I think a word that's coming up for me here is being able to rely on our partner, rely. And in John Bowlby attachment terms, this is a center point of secure attachment, that the attachment figure is reliable.
Is reliable. You mean they don't have to be perfect in their response, but there's a kind of reliability.
Ideally, they're going to be fairly warm and responsive a lot of the time, but there's a reliability. I can depend upon them.
And if you were to be summing up what makes it work in the long term, forgive me for asking you such a big question, but that's where we started from. Are there a few elements you would say?
And the other one, I mean, I love you're going from being reactive to being reflective, which actually is another way of saying my one, which is it's for both partners to be willing to be learners.
Yeah.
And that it's such a win-win being a learner in a relationship, because you're able to craft a better relationship, but also you enjoy it, because we all love learning and building our skills. It's just an inherently satisfying thing to do.
And you've got to be able to let go of hurt and anger and feel safe enough to do this.
Yes, I mean, let go.
Or move beyond that kind of splitting.
And you need to be able to depend on your partner to attend to it adequately, because, you know, if our partner really has wronged us, then that's going to need a bit of attention before we move on, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. So the making it work in the long run is what the feelings, the reliability. Could you just
Yes, the reliability and the learning, it's all mixed up in the secure enough attachment that if I feel the environment, i.e. the couple, is a safe enough place, I will be curious. That's the natural human response. If I'm safe enough in the environment of myself, of course, if I'm in a terrible state of anxiety myself, I can't be curious and learning, and exploring. But if I'm safe enough in myself, if I feel my partner is reliable enough, then I will be curious, and then I'll explore and learn.
That's lovely.
So I think it's time for us to wind up, but I really appreciate, Cynthia. Thank you so much. And if you've enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe with the blue button, because there'll be many more.
And may I say, buy the book. It's really interesting.
Thank you, Cynthia. Bye-bye.
Bye.